So the Hoxton Hotel got in touch with me to pitch to design their wallpaper for a new hotel that they were opening in central London. And there was 180 bedrooms, and they wanted something that reflected the area of Holborn in central London, but that was also not traditionally London and London's sites and things like that. So they asked me to create a pitch document, and I produced like an 18-page pitch with previous illustrations I'd done, inspirations for wallpaper that I liked, and just a bunch of photographs that I sort of could use as inspiration, as starting points. There was a few people pitching for it, and I went in and met them all and did it in front of them, which is one of the only times I've really done that. And a couple of days later got the job, and then had a week to work on producing the wallpaper. So it ended up 2 illustrators getting the job and doing 90 bedrooms each. And they would produce the rolls of the wallpaper on like a large scale. So then they sort of, based on what I'd shown them, wanted to see a series of roughs over that week, which was a really short amount of time to go from start to finish really quickly. So then I produced some illustrations that I thought, some roughs that were based around sort of eccentric London life and what it feels like to live in amongst the chaos of London. And I really liked that idea of looking at it in a different way. It wasn't traditional London at all. It sort of felt like there was comedy in there, but there was also sort of like a darker edge, I think. So then I went and produced finals, and we went through that whole process, and the hotel opened up, I think 3 months ago in London. But then after that project, they asked me to do all of the soaps and shampoo and conditioners and hand soaps for the hotel. And they were doing 3 ranges there that were aimed at different people. And these are them here. I like to cram a lot into my work. I like it to be really busy. I like there to be a lot going on, and for you to sort of hold your eye for a little bit in there. And my initial design for the wallpaper was really a lot busier than it ended up being in the hotel, because I wanted to sort of cram it. But then I realised, actually, on sort of going back and forth with the client, that this wall would look really mental, and it wouldn't look so traditional because it would be so packed. And so we stripped it down a little bit. And when I saw the wallpaper on the walls, because I stayed in the hotel, and when I saw the wallpaper on the walls, you realise that working, it's a completely different way of working, because you're trying to, you've got to get the balance right. Whereas when you're doing stuff for, other clients, you can cram a lot into that one editorial piece, and that's really great because it looks really busy. But when you're thinking about someone's enjoyment of a night's sleep or their experience there, you don't want to sort of go in there and feel like it's a really trippy sort of space. It still wants to feel like a nice environment to sort of stay in. And that was a real challenge and something really different and good and good to sort of try out and experiment with. They really liked the idea that throughout the rooms there would be the wallpaper, and then when you go into other parts of the hotel, that would continue throughout, and it would feel like one person has, or 2 people, but one person has designed wallpaper and the hand soaps and all the shampoo stuff, so it feels like there's a flow throughout it. So this is some of the stuff you get free when you go in there. And it was just, the reason I loved this project so much was that it really felt like I was moving into a different area. It wasn't just print that was magazines and newspapers. It wasn't just websites and stuff online. It really felt like it had a different function, and it was really decorative, and it had to just serve that purpose. Not tell too much of a story, but give an idea of the place and the hotel. And for me, that was really exciting, to produce something that was purely decorative, and not just going on, not trying to get a point across. And so it's something, after this job, it's something I've tried to focus on a lot more, doing things that are decorative and not just focusing on the traditional sort of route of illustration, which, you know, is newspapers and editorial and things like that, which I love doing, but trying to balance it out with curating and putting work in different spaces. I think it's made me think a lot more about spacing and not sort of cramming for just the sake of it. You know, stripping stuff out that maybe isn't completely essential, and thinking about the flow of things and the way things work. And that's great. And like I say, if you trust those things and trust what you've learned from them, your work will really move, and it will sort of remain fresh as a result of that, because you're constantly adapting and constantly learning and changing as a result of that.